But first, there are 2 points to be made about the revelation that the Labor left in Victoria have been brazen about branch stacking, as brazen as Labor's right. The first is that someone inside the Steve Bracks, Jenny Macklin party administration that's been running the Victorian ALP until recently, well, someone there has leaked against Premier Daniel Andrews in one of the very few signs of internal resistance to his iron grip on the party. The second is the further exposure of the Premier's clear double standards, as right faction ministers have all been drummed out of the Parliament for ethical breaches that hardly differ from those of Andrews' close factional ally from Labor's left, Climate Minister Lily D'Ambrosio. Remember Adam Somyurek, the right faction minister and power broker, that Andrews demonised and then expelled for running party branches out of his office and paying the fees of ghost members. There was even an IBAC anti-corruption inquiry that inexplicably targeted the Premier's factional enemies, but not his friends, not those on Labor's left. Now, all along, Somyurek admitted his wrongdoing, but he said it was every bit as rampant on the right as it is on the left.
If he were to sack all the branch stackers in his party, he won't have a cabinet and he won't have a caucus left. Every safe ALP seat in Victoria, certainly in Victoria, is stacked. The socialist left invented ethnic branch stacking. So they were useful idiots. Let's put it that way. They were useful idiots.
Well, now Adam Somyurek has been vindicated with these revelations carried, of course, in the Australian newspaper yesterday and again today by the indefatigable reporter Rachel Baxendale. And this says that Lily D'Ambrosio ran the lawless South branch out of her office, and that dead people's signatures were forged, and that at least 9 long-term members cannot remember ever paying any fees. Now, it's all pretty squalid, but entirely predictable in a party where factional warfare and branch stacking has long been rife. What's equally predictable is the utterly brazen nature of the Andrews response, simply denying the obvious parallels between his allies' conduct and that of expelled factional foes, and simply asserting that his ally is beyond reproach when it's clear that's hardly the case.
There is simply no comparison, none whatsoever, between what we all witnessed on that 60 Minutes program and some of the stuff that's in your paper today.
And of course, out of it all, he's ended up with an even stronger power base inside Labor, having wiped out any internal opposition from Labor's right. What's appalling here is the way the official anti-corruption body was sooled onto just one side of this factional mess by the Premier in what looks like yet another case of abuse of state power. Now, sure, investigate branch stacking, but investigate everyone. Don't allow Daniel Andrews to use independent institutions as a political bludgeon. What this also shows is that someone on the inside has clearly had enough of this Premier, whose Stalinist control over state Labor branches has no parallel. How else could details of branch records and the findings of the Bracks and Macklin review be made public? Now, is this the beginning of the end for a Premier who's cultivated a personality cult inside his own party? Well, long-suffering Victorians can only but hope. So too can the rest of the country that's now got the Andrews hard left agenda infecting Labor in their states too.